Change can be both exciting and grueling. The 20th century was a period of such transformation. Kings and queens in Eastern Europe were getting dethroned and exiled by the rise of communism. Newly established republics were mostly totalitarian prisons, preventing elementary human rights. But as the Iron Curtain lifted, a chance emerged. A chance for these deposed monarchs to reclaim their thrones. So what happened? Why did monarchy dreams remain a far-fetched ambition? Hello fellow monarchists! Today we are looking at what happened after the Soviet Union's collapse. The failed attempts of monarchist revival in Eastern Europe. As the dust of the 90s settled, East Europe's monarchies in waiting found the dawn of the 21st century rather anticlimactic. Despite some partial wins and attempts, no significant advancements were made in re-establishing once prominent ruling houses. Let's examine this country by country. Starting with Bulgaria, where former King Simeon II surprised everyone when he ran for a political office and became the prime minister. In 1946, the monarchy was abolished by communist referendum and Simeon was forced into exile. He returned to his home country in 1996, formed a political party called National Movement for Stability and Progress, and was elected Prime Minister of the Republic of Bulgaria from July 2001 until August 2005. However, he faced a political setback in 2005. While the former king remains a substantial political figure, it is difficult to assess where his career will go from here. Over in Russia, Grand Duke Vladimir was the head of the imperial family of Russia, and he passed away in 1992, shortly after his historic return. His body was returned to Russia and he was buried with full pomp and splendor in the Peter and Paul Fortress in St. Petersburg, the first Romanov to be honored in this way since before the revolution. The press noted that the funeral was regarded by civic and Russian authorities as an obligation to Romanov family, rather than a step forward restoration of the monarchy. As he was only a great-grandson of a recognized Russian emperor, his claimant of a title Grand Duke of Russia caused problems as what to put on his tombstone. After his death, his daughter Maria Vladimirovna assumed the headship of the imperial family of Russia according to his branch's interpretation of the Russian house laws. The fact is, ever since Vladimir Putin succeeded Boris Yeltsin as president in 1999, there has been little to indicate further rapprochement between government and the imperial house. Nevertheless, the foundations for the future role in Russia for the Romanovs has been laid, and the dynasty remains an essential part of the Russian psyche. In Romania, the royal lineage treads on a shaky grounds. Nicolae Ceausescu's communist dictatorship was overthrown in 1989, and the following year King Michael attempted to return to Romania, only to be arrested and forced to leave upon arrival. In 1992, King was allowed to visit Romania for Easter, where he was greeted by huge crowds. A speech he gave from his hotel window drew an estimated 1 million people in Bucharest. Alarmed by Michael's popularity, the post-communist government of Ion Iliescu refused to allow him any further visits. In 1997, after Iliescu's defeat by Emil Constantinescu, King's citizenship was restored and he was allowed to visit Romania again. Several confiscated properties were eventually returned to his family. Former King Michael's potential successors are his daughters. According to the 1923 constitution, the rightful heir should be a male descendant. According to the succession provisions of the Romanian kingdom's last democratically approved monarchical constitution of 1923, upon the death of King Michael without sons, the claim to the crown devolves once again upon the Hohenzollern family. However, on the 30th December 2007, on the 60th anniversary of his forced abdication, King Michael signed the fundamental rules of the royal family of Romania, by which he designated Princess Margareta as his heir. The document has no legal standing, as it regulates an institution that no longer exists. But then, Romania is republic, so who can forbid royal family to regulate itself? In Serbia, Prince Alexander II, as a 2-year-old child in 1947, was proclaimed the enemy of the communist state. In fact, all members of Alexander's family, except for his great-uncle Prince George, were deprived of their Yugoslav citizenships, and their properties were confiscated. As of 8 July 2015, the High Court in Belgrade found a Decree 392 issued by the Presidency of the Presidium of the National Assembly on 3rd of August of 1947, which deprived King Peter II and other members of the House of Karađorđević of their citizenship, was null and void from the moment of its adoption. And although that all of the legal consequences were null and void, Republic has never returned any of the confiscated properties. He has lived since 17th of July 2001 at the Royal Palace in Belgrade. This actually backfired, making conflict within royal family and also creating a false narrative in public that royal family is being financially supported by the Serbian government, when in fact Republic is supporting its own museum activities and making profit on tens of thousands of tickets sold to tourists in an active royal palace every year. Alexander II first came to Yugoslavia in 1991, when he was welcomed by hundreds of thousands of Serbians on the streets. He actively worked with the opposition against Yugoslav dictator Milošević and moved to Yugoslavia after Milošević's fall. In last Serbian elections, pro-monarchy political party gained 7 seats in parliament out of 250. The coalition they were part of came out as 4th. A parallel situation exists in Montenegro, which regained its independence from Serbia following a referendum held in May 2006. Prince Nicholas, head of the Petrović-Njegoš royal house, was student in 1967 when he visited Montenegro for the first time. Upon showing his university ID card, the staff bowed upon recognizing his last name. News of the visit had spread, and by the time he left the museum, a crowd of 300 Montenegrins had gathered to greet him. Legislation passed in 2011 provides Nicholas with a monthly stipend equal to that of the president and grants his family residences in Cetinje and Podgorica. The Montenegrin state also promised to pay 4.3 million euros to charitable foundation administered by the royal family. All of these things make Republic of Montenegro a rare republic with an official royal dynasty. In Albania, after the defeat in the 1997 referendum on the monarchy, Prince Leka returned to exile in South Africa, but following a formal request in 2002 from a substantial body of the Albanian parliament for the royal family to return, Prince Leka arrived back in the country later that year, where he died in November 2011. His only son and heir, known as Leka II, seems to be well liked and accepted within the political establishment. After work experience with the ministers of foreign affairs and the interior, he was appointed as an advisor to newly elected president in 2012. In the 2021 elections, the right-wing Monarchist party, the PLL, won just a single seat. In Hungary, a potential kingdom restoration seems possible. The country's new constitution pays homage to the Holy Crown of St. Stephen and other traditional values, yet the structural form remains republican. Hungary even dropped the republic from its name and proclaimed communist traditions as unwanted and is portraying itself as a country with Christian tradition and values. Currently, several members of the Habsburg dynasty are working for Hungary as diplomats. Hungary has a long monarchist tradition. The most likely candidate for this position would be Karl von Habsburg, the grandson of the last Austro-Hungarian Emperor Charles I. And lastly, Georgia. The Bagrationi dynasty, arguably the oldest in Europe, has survived the rule of the Russian Tsars and Soviet Union. Yet, with freedom in 1991, Georgia chose a republican government due to the absence of a clear royal candidate. The fragmentation of the Bagrationi dynasty into collateral lines led to a complex hereditary situation. However, the union of Prince David Bagrationi and Princess Anna Bagrationi and the birth of their son, Prince Georgi, in 2011 gave a glimmer of hope. Sadly, the royal couple's subsequent divorce added another layer of complexity. So the question remains, why has monarchy not been re-established in Eastern Europe, despite a significant number of people supporting or being indifferent about the monarchist form of the government? Is it due to the monarchies not being organized or divided across various political parties? Does the conflict within the royal families, as we see in Romania, Georgia, and Russia, fracture the monarchist body? Or perhaps monarchies are content with smaller victories. For example, a monarch allowed to live in the country as a citizen, as in Serbia and Bulgaria, or the omission of the word republic from the country's name, as we have in Hungary, or even a president emulating an 19th century's absolute monarch, as we have in Russia, or maybe because royal pretenders reject to be puppets of political parties. Or finally, maybe monarchies are pushing ideas 200 years old and are being seen as obsolete by general public and other monarchists even. Perhaps all of these factors combined shape the contemporary political landscape of the Eastern Europe, a picture of unfulfilled dreams and seemingly perpetual stasis. In my opinion, the best thing monarchists can do is first to educate themselves on what is monarchy, and second, work on agenda setting that will bring monarchy. And the video on what is agenda setting is right here on this channel. And let me know down in comments your thoughts. Why are monarchies not being restored in East Europe? If you found this video about failed attempts of royal restorations in post-Soviet Union's collapse compelling, do hit that like button and share this video with your fellow monarchists. And check out other videos on this channel for various monarchist topics. See you in the next one.